Good? Go ahead, sir.
And for Terrence, are you ready to feel the Mexican power, Terrence?
You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win. It's suicide.
I'm ready.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, I told you guys a couple videos ago, that Canelo Alvarez, even though he was behind in the fight and he knew that he was trailing, he showed no urgency. In fact, the guy that was showing all of the urgency, all of the drive, all of the determination, the guy who was fighting like he was hungry and he was behind, was Terrence Crawford. And that's because that's the way Crawford fights. Because Crawford is the ultimate competitor. He always wants to close the show. Crawford was the much smaller man, jumped up 3 weight classes. He was the older man, 38 years old. And yet it was Crawford that was willing to take more risk than the naturally bigger Canelo Alvarez. You see, Crawford wasn't just better than Canelo Alvarez. He also had way more heart than Canelo did. In both of Canelo Alvarez's fights with Floyd Mayweather and Terrence Crawford, Canelo was by far the bigger man. The night of the fight against Floyd Mayweather, Canelo was 15 pounds bigger than him. So he was way bigger than both of them. Just listen to what Canelo said out of his own mouth. He admitted that he had a massive size advantage over Crawford if Crawford decided to move up to 168, and therefore it would be an easy fight for Canelo Alvarez because Canelo thought that he would be able to bully the smaller Terrence Crawford. Listen to what Canelo said before the fight.
The Sheik said that he would be willing to pay whatever you want to fight Crawford.
Fine.
Yeah.
If he's willing to pay whatever I want, hands down.
That'll work. So if yeah, you're in. So if the numbers were right with Crawford, you'll do it.
Why not? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I think Crawford don't get me wrong. He's a great fighter. Mm-hmm. But for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight. Mm-hmm. For me, easy money.
Now let's just reverse the roles. Can you guys imagine if it was Terrence Crawford that was naturally 3 weight classes bigger than Canelo Alvarez, meaning Canelo was the one that moved up 2-3 weight classes to fight Crawford? Can you guys imagine if it was Floyd Mayweather who was naturally fighting at a higher weight class, and the night of the fight, Floyd Mayweather was 15 pounds bigger than Canelo Alvarez? Can you guys imagine how those fights would have played out? I'm telling you guys right now, there's a very good chance that both Floyd Mayweather and Crawford would have stopped Canelo. Crawford would have stopped him for sure. And both of them would have been very aggressive, meticulously breaking down Canelo Alvarez. Both Floyd Mayweather and Terrence Crawford are terrific body punchers. Do you guys remember the way Floyd Mayweather was breaking down Zab Judah? That was the reason why Zab Judah, he kept hitting Floyd with those low blows. His father, you go back and you watch that fight, Zab Judah's father kept whispering in his ear, man, you know, if you feel you getting hurt or something, man, take a break by hitting him with a low blow. That's pretty much what he had told Zab Judah. Floyd was on the verge of stopping Zab Judah until Zab Judah basically pulled a Mike Tyson and fouled out to be DQ'd. So even though this is a rhetorical question, I ask you this question again. With Canelo Alvarez having an entire country on his back, How come he didn't show any type of urgency going into those championship rounds? That's the reason why they call them championship rounds. This is a very tribal sport, and it's the battle of the fittest. So the question once again is, why wasn't Canelo Alvarez willing to take the same type of risk that the smaller Terrence Crawford was willing to take from the first round to the last round? And pro boxer and trainer Robert Garcia, he answered that question in a very honest way.
And he did exactly what Bomac was telling me about. He boxed beautiful. He even stood in front of him to exchange and landed the better punches. So that tells you a lot. Because he's never been there. He's never done that. That's what he needs. That's what he needed. But he didn't do. He didn't even try. The thing is that what we've seen with, he's Mexican. What we've seen with Mexican fighters like Chavez, who was having a hard time against Mayweather. Chavez, who was having a hard time against Meldrick Taylor. But he kept going. He kept trying and, missing, getting hit, whatever. But he kept going, cutting the ring. He had that mentality, that heart of a warrior. Barrera did it a few times. Morales did it a few times. Just to mention those. Marquez coming from behind, or a very close, tough fight against Pitbull, Diaz, Juan Diaz. What do they call him?
Baby Bull.
The Baby Bull. I said Pitbull. Baby Bull. But, never gave up, kept going, kept doing it. That's what Canelo missed, man. Even if he would have lost, but never changed the game plan, never tried anything different. Always kept the same rhythm, even though he was losing, still looking for that left to the body with no, from far, opening up, keeping his chin up. He's never been in those situations, so maybe that hurt him. Fernando Vargas, we're Mexican, but he's not born in Mexico, so I didn't mention him. But remember Fernando versus Trinidad, first round, Fernando gets dropped and hurt, but he still kept coming. Then a few rounds later, drops Trinidad. That's what Canelo's missing. That's what people want to see from Canelo. That's what Mexicans want to see from Canelo. Where you're losing, like the perfect example of Crawford. You're losing. At the ring, throw more punches, get a little dirty if you can. To try to find a way. Chavez jumped to reach that right hand against Mayweather and dropped him. You know what I mean? Because he just jumped. He was desperate to land that punch.
Right.
That's something Canelo has never showed us. Canelo has never had that. Canelo's an athlete. Canelo's a great athlete. A very dedicated person. He's focused. He trains hard. I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Now, first of all, Robert Garcia is right. Canelo definitely does not have the heart of other Mexican boxers like Julio Cesar Chavez. Matter of fact, Robert Garcia, he could have added his own name to that list because Robert, he also had the type of heart that Canelo Alvarez does not have. If you guys remember when Robert Garcia got knocked out by Diego Corrales, he showed more heart than Canelo Alvarez because Robert was willing to go out on his shield. But there's another reason why Canelo Alvarez is not willing to go out on his shield. You see, it's more than him just not having the heart. It's also his Mexican pride. What you guys have to understand is Canelo Alvarez, he suffers PTSD just like a lot of Mexican fighters or a lot of Mexican fans do. Because a lot of Mexican fans and fighters, they grew up watching their favorite Mexican fighters get beat by Black American boxers. And you guys have to understand this, man. In the Mexican homes, the Mexican families, Mexicans, they teach their kids to literally hate Black people. And I know this for a fact because Mexicans have always told me this. Now, of course, it's not every single Mexican family, but it's way more than half. And that's way too much, especially when you consider the fact that black people have never felt this way about Mexicans. You guys have to understand, this is the reason why Ryan Garcia, he felt so comfortable to come out and openly express the way he and his family and his friends feel about the entire black race. And if you notice, after Ryan Garcia said that, he almost got more popular. More Mexican fans and other Latino fans, they were supporting him even more.
Rolly versus Garcia, who do you got?
I got Ryan all day.
Ryan all day.
Ryan all day.
Ryan for sure.
Ryan all day.
Yeah, Ryan, bro. Come on.
Ryan,
Ryan Garcia, bro.
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia, baby.
It's the King Ryan squad over here? Yeah? Okay. So what boxer on the card do you want to see get flattened the most? Oh, we got some Haney haters over here.
You see, Ryan Garcia, he became the Mexican version of Charlie Kirk after he came out of the closet. And things played out the way Ryan expected them to play out. He became more loved and more respected by Mexican fans. Like I told you guys, a lot of Mexicans, they would tell me how Mexicans feel about black people in general. A lot of the Mexican women I used to mess with, some of the Mexican men that I knew, they would tell me straight up. You know, the guy at the gym, Fernando, who used to work at the front desk, he used to tell me, he used to say, man, Dante, you know, we were basically taught, you know, to identify black people as the N-word. He said, for us, our family, that was like normal. It was normal to call black people the N-word. And once again, these are Mexicans that are being taught this word as little children. As soon as they learn how to talk, as soon as they learn how to speak English, I should say, because a lot of these Mexicans, they didn't know how to speak English when they were first born. So some of their first English words was the N-word. I mean, you even have Mexican celebrities that brag about this. They brag, like George Lopez. He bragged about how his family does not accept black people. To this day, he brags about it. So here's the dilemma for Mexican fans. 95 or maybe even 98% of the greatest, and just pay attention to how I word this, 98% of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time, they suffered their very first defeat to a black boxer. Their very first defeat, it was to a black American boxer, at least outside of Trinidad, who's a black Puerto Rican. Speaking of Trinidad, I remember, I think it was leading up to Trinidad versus Fernando Vargas, right? And I was in Long Beach and I had to get my cable installed. So, you know, the installer was a Mexican guy. He could barely speak English. But we start talking about the fight. We start talking about Trinidad versus Fernando Vargas. And the funny thing to me is, instead of really talking about how the fight would play out, the main thing he kept focusing on was Trinidad's color. He kept saying to me, man, that guy is black, man. That guy is black. He's not Puerto Rican. He's not Latino. He's black, man. That guy is black. And I'm saying to him, so you don't see him as Puerto Rican? He's like, no, man, that guy is black. This man said nothing about the actual fight. That was his breakdown. That was his analytical breakdown when it came to that fight. It bothered him that Tito Trinidad would even consider himself Latino. And that type of ignorance is normal when it comes to Mexicans in general. This is the way they look at it because, once again, they have so much hatred towards the black race in general. So anyway, getting back to my point, Canelo has watched all of his idols fall short and suffer their first loss to the boxers that the Mexicans hate more than any other race, black American boxers. So you got to think of the pressure that's on Canelo Alvarez and all the other Mexican fighters when they're fighting against a black fighter. So I feel like this kind of made Canelo Alvarez even more reluctant, even more cautious in that fight. And it's funny how people used to say, you know, when Canelo was fighting against weak tomato cans and C+ fighters, it got to the point to where, you know, a lot of these tomato cans, they were happy just to go 12 rounds with Canelo and say, see, I went 12 rounds. I didn't get knocked out like Edgar Berlanga or John Ryder, right? But the funny thing is, when it came to Canelo versus Crawford, it was Canelo Alvarez who I feel At some point, he said, look, man, all I got to do is make it to the final bell. All I got to do is not get knocked out, because it's already going to be bad that I'm losing to a black guy who's way smaller than me. But if he knocks me out, it's completely over. It's completely over. And I feel that's what Canelo Alvarez was saying to himself in that last round. And I believe because of this performance, this is going to make Mexican fighters even more reluctant to take fights against undefeated black American boxers. I'm not saying it's every single one of them, because David Benavidez, he's an exception. And yeah, he's only half Mexican. Mexican fighters historically have always been reluctant to get in the ring with very dangerous black American fighters. I'm talking about going all the way back to Chavez. For those of you guys who don't remember, Chavez, he avoided Terry Norris. And even Abel Sanchez, to this day, he admitted that. But at the same time, credit goes to Chavez, because he did get in the ring with other dangerous black American boxers that a lot of Mexican fighters wouldn't have fought today. I feel Terence Crawford, he took Canelo Alvarez's heart. He snatched his heart in those championship rounds. And he transformed Canelo Alvarez into a bully / Goliath to a survivor. And now Canelo Alvarez, he could write a book and title it Surviving Terence Crawford. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Black American boxers are the greatest boxers on the planet. And I don't care what anybody says. Here's the proof. Muhammad Ali, Jack Johnson, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Joe Louis, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Pernell Whitaker, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Terence Crawford, the Russians, the Mexicans, the Cubans, the Japanese, the people in the UK. None of you compare at all. None of you. And I'm excluding Haitians, Jamaicans, and Trinidadian, and anybody else that's also black but has another heritage that doesn't come from America. I'm speaking straight 100% black American. They never like to include us in their shit, but love to take our victories as well. No, this is straight black Americans. We are the best. Period. Period. Terrence proved it, and we got the bragging rights. Because if Canelo won, y'all would be going crazy all day. All day. But he did it. He lost. Fought a beautiful fight. Still an amazing fighter. But he's not the best in the world, and he's no longer the face. That belongs to look like me. You feel me? And that's a beautiful thing, man. And they got women in the Vatican. You talk about we up. Black men up right now. Black American men is up right now. We up. Clap it up. Y'all did awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of shit going around saying that Crawford ran the whole fight. It's about time we stop bullshit and give a fighter credit when credit is due. Crawford not once ran. Look at that right there. Boom. Right there. Toe to toe, baby. Toe to toe. Each punch thrown is a punch landed. Get out of here. Last thing to be said. I honestly think, and I'm glad Crawford didn't sit there and bang with Canelo, because I really do feel like Crawford would have made his knees wobble or would have probably knocked that motherfucker out, to be honest. So hey, let's thank the Lord on that one. Crawford, I thank you so much for not sitting toe to toe with my Mexican legend. Thank you guys, and please give a fighter their flowers, man. They go in there and fight for their lives. You gotta give them the credit.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.